Greetings, and welcome back to the MCOC Encyclopedia. Today, as promised, we'll be going through the path from 7.4.2 that I recommended in my previous video with the team I recommended using. This will let you get a little more insight into why I chose this team and how I play around the nodes. This video will be much more relaxed, but I still suggest you go and watch that video first if you haven't already, as it contains most of the key information around this quest. And with that, let's jump in. So, here we are in 7.4.2, and we will be taking Teleporter 3A to the Ronin path. The team today is 5-star Ascended Iron Man, Apocalypse, Nimrod, Mr. Sinister, and 6-star Rank 3 Wolverine. This is a debuff potency path, so I really wanted to have a chance to play around with a little bit of Horseman Wolverine, which means we need to make him a Horseman. So we'll be starting off this path with Apocalypse. He goes straight to 4 charges because we've got Mr. Sinister on the team. You could absolutely bring Cable, and he will do very, very well on this path as well. 3 knockdowns gives us our 3 power locks, meaning we can now, 3 paradox, removing the power lock, meaning we can now gain power. On this path, with the 90% physical resistance, I am relying a lot more on the debuffs to do the jobs, so I'm just going to knock him down quite a few times so we can really build up those paradox nodes. It is very easy to keep the paradox nodes consistent because you remove them by intercepting. So here, despite messing up my spacing, we can knock him down, go for the special one, and we now put some very big debuffs on him. So that's a big poison, but also a very big weakness, something which is probably not generally considered on this path. We can now take a lot of punishment because that weakness is massively reducing Ronin's damage. Just building to our special 2 now. Come on, Ronin, until we bait out his special 1. We're not going to risk the heavy counter this time because we messed it up last time. So dodge the projectile, go back in, just fishing for that parry. Nope, parry. Ronin, please, do something. Anything? That's me intercepting, not sure why. There we go. So now we go. We've got 8 paradox charges. We've got our concussion, which is also helping a lot. Lots of burst damage, and a nice big degen as well. So just from the 2 of those debuffs, and remember that this is only a 5-star Apocalypse, we're getting 2,000 damage per tick, 4,000 damage per second. We really can just wait and this fight will finish itself. But I'm far too impatient for that. So we're going to continue to hit him as well. 1 more special 1 and this fight's pretty much done. Just looking to get some more bleeds going, into a special 1, and the burst damage from that has no issues at all, burning through the rest of Ronin's health. Apocalypse, a character that is a little more slept on than perhaps he should be. Certainly has had his time, but if we see a 7-star Apocalypse, I will be very excited for him, as his signature ability is not hugely important. Up next, we have Sauron, and Nimrod is going to bully this fool with very few issues. Pretty much anything Sauron does, Nimrod can counter. So we're going to start off with some parry heavies. The reason being, we need to heavy him so we can gain power. And also, every time we parry with Nimrod while we're in the blue phase, we gain armors. More armors means more shock potency from his special 2. We're also getting shock debuffs from removing his prowess and his regen whilst we're in the orange phase. Slightly unfortunately in this situation, but it is better in most situations, the shocks we get from the special 2 are in fact passive, which means we can't benefit from this node. We do also have the power drain debuff, which is being boosted by the node, so that's really reducing Sauron's power as well. Let's see how big are the shocks we're getting. 5.6k per tick, and remember that those are passive, so they're not being boosted by the node. That is just what a 5-star Nimrod does. If you are struggling against Sauron and you have a Nimrod, well, 1, go watch the Sauron video. We have a whole video on how to beat him, where I think I spend a lot of time ranting about how good Nimrod is. But hey, he is basically designed to counter Sauron. Here we go, going for our second special 2, and that is lights out with a lot of overkill. Despite taking a few hits, Nimrod is also quite a tank. Up next we have Quake, which is a champion that I consistently fail to fight on this channel, so let's see how we are doing. We can now apply our Horseman pre-fights because Apocalypse has his 4 charges, so we can use Horseman Wolverine. This gives him more crit chance, more crit damage, the standard Horseman buffs, more ability accuracy, and you go unstoppable if you get hit, as well as full bleed resistance. But it also gives him access to critical bleeds. And you can see already that those bleeds are ticking for 1400, and that was before we got any paradox going. We are now just 13 hits into the fight, and she's almost half down. This is just a 6-star rank 3 Wolverine, I'm pretty sure. And, well, A couple more heavies, because we need to build those Paradox before the fight ends. Critical bleed's now ticking for nearly 2,000 each. Another critical bleed, regular bleed, critical bleed. 7 bleeds in total. What's that, 4, 5, 6,000 damage per tick? And Quake's over. 35 hits. Actually managed to fight Quake for a change without getting completely rinsed. Up next we have White Magneto, and here we'll be using Mr. Sinister. The reason being is Wolverine is metal, and I think Wolverine versus Magneto is perhaps one of the most iconic matchups from a lot of comic history. However, Mr. Sinister versus this Magneto is not going to be very fair, because, well, Mr. Sinister is well known for dealing a lot of degen damage, and we're just going to, well, you'll see. It's going to get boosted by the node, so it's going to be some serious degen damage. Just building to our special one, we've rolled 1 Mystic and 2 Cosmic on our pre-fight. 2 Cosmic's nice for boosting our damage, and we can see with just, 4 when we threw it, 5 afterwards, we get nearly 10,000 damage per tick on the degens here. So with 2 charges there, he's down to half health before we've really started, and now we're up to 6 Paradox. Evade that. Going to go for 7 whilst we've still got the Vicious up. Want to make sure that's going. 14,000 damage per tick. First pause, that's the end of the second pause, and poor Magneto didn't really stand a chance. We end that with a full yellow bar. Ridiculous. Up next, we have Nick Fury, and we will be going back to Old Faithful Wolverine. So he actually has 2 crossfights in this fight, because we've got the Horseman and his crossfight of the 7 Paradox. Intercept at the start, which probably wasn't the best thing to do, but we've got these crit bleeds and regular bleeds going, so this Nick Fury is absolutely melting. I could have gone for a heavy attack there, but I want to push him to a special 2, because I don't really want to be dealing with his special 1 more than we have to. But even without the Paradox doing a huge amount, we've only got 5 charges, he's already, if he only had 1 health pull, he'd be gone by this point. That's it. That's Nick Fury's gone. That technically counted as a shrug off. He removed my buffs, so Wolverine did actually go unblockable for just a moment there. Another part of the Horseman ability. Wolverine's regeneration's coming in as well. We are regenning for 700 per tick, so he's not... It'd be quite tricky to die in this fight as well. There we go, so we're going to block all of that. Did actually take a hit at the end, so we trigger Unstoppable. More regen going on here as well. There we go. That's quite some nasty block damage, and we would be able to regen all of it, but we're going to end this fight far too quickly for that. 1 special 2. We don't even bother going for it, and this Nick Fury is down without issues. Up next, we have Domino, and I'll be using Iron Man, and this fight goes horribly. But again, I try and keep it realistic for you. Iron Man generally is a fairly good Domino counter, but here things just don't line up. We need to knock her down so we can boost our armor breaks and gain power, but that just sort of doesn't really happen. I'm fishing for a parry here, and it's just not happening. There you go, she fails that one. And the crit fail damage here is quite nasty. So we get our first knockdown there. That doesn't do anything. We managed to get a very cheeky reparry there. She's gone lucky now, so we have to be very careful so we don't trigger her evade. Parry that to pause our armors. Nice little piece of Iron Man utility. And when awakened, and even when not, but particularly when awakened, his block proficiency and tankiness on specials is ridiculous. There we unfortunately intercepted an A to heavy, which crit, so we took a lot of damage. We got a very lucky heavy there, but that heavy, even though she evaded, counted as an intercept. So now we're back down to 1 charge, and this fight, as I said, is just going very poorly. So we're just going to continue to beat it. At this point, I really need to gain some space. Our parries just aren't sticking, but that's Domino for you. Going to go for another parry here. We took 0 damage when we parried that. So we finally get another knockdown there, so up to 2 charges. Then we get another parry, we're up to 3 charges. Get another parry, so this is going a bit better. We are going much better than we were before. So we're going to go for another parry on here. Parry that, took 0 damage again. So Iron Man is an absolute tank when it comes to parrying specials. Up to 5, 6. So we're looking to get to our special 2, trigger the reactor, and then go for our special 1. So we can get some big armor breaks with all these charges. Go for another parry here, please. There we go. So we've got 10 armor ups, which is loads actually. You want, I think it's 7 as a minimum when you throw the special 2. So there we've got 17 armor ups, 175 charges, and here's where the fun begins. So we can now bait out her special attack and go for our special 1 and trigger some very, very large armor breaks. So we're just trying to get a good opening. There it comes. And those are some really chunky armor breaks, but really not doing the damage I'd like to here. I don't know if it's the physical resistance that's blocking out all of our damage pretty much in its entirety, but Iron Man here just isn't doing what I want him to, which is slightly annoying. So here, we've got 13k medium, that's pretty good. Go for some more armor breaks here. These are massive armor breaks, our big regeneration triggers, slightly gimped by the crit fail damage. Some more armor breaks here. And the Domino is going down slowly, more slowly than I would like. She's lucky there, so I have to make sure she doesn't evade, but she does. We get a very cheeky parry there. It almost feels like our damage is getting capped, but we miss the parry, and Iron Man goes down. Luckily, Iron Man was just our backup option, so we're going to bring in the guy I should have used for the fight, which is Nimrod. If I was taking this fight, or this path, and it was just me doing it, so I wasn't doing it for the showcase, I would have actually just used Nimrod again from the beginning against this Domino, and used Iron Man purely as boss backup. But I would like to showcase things as well. So, we've triggered that Cowardice, which means the special attacks aren't going to be doing much damage if they hit us. However, it's a big Cowardice, but also Domino's specials aren't hugely troublesome. We're using a tech character, so we can't be unlucky. And with some very big shocks coming out of Nimrod, again, those are passives, those aren't boosted by the node, that's just what Nimrod does. We've got the power drain going as well, and you can see her power is just being absolutely sapped away, because that is being boosted by 8 or 9 paradox charges. So here, one more special 2 will close out this fight without issues. Go for a light ending combo there to switch back into orange phase, which gives us a bit more damage. Switch back into the blue one by accident, which annoyingly means because we're in blue and not orange or purple, we don't trigger any shocks, which is a bit annoying, so we just extended this fight out longer than it needed to. We haven't triggered any critical fail in this fight because Nimrod is immune to ability accuracy reduction from robots. This fight was pretty awful, and that's just Domino for you, but we managed to get through it, only losing one champion. Again, should have just used Nimrod from the start. Up next, we have the boss, Sabretooth. We have our champion swapper, use it if you need to. The only node you really need to worry about in this fight is Adrenochrome, which is the one that gives him a very, very large fury each time he throws a special attack, but for each debuff on him, which is why Iron Man would have been better for this fight as backup rather than for Domino, each debuff on him, it is reduced, and when it expires, he takes about 6,000 or 7,000 damage. However, Nimrod's also going to be very good for this fight because every time we hit him, he triggers regeneration, but every time we hit him in our orange phase, we can strip off a regeneration, trigger a shock instead. So you can see pretty much every other hit, we're just triggering shocks back to back. So in this fight, we just want to bait specials. That's pretty much it. Bait specials, don't die. He doesn't want to throw the special one. The block damage can get quite nasty because a 1000% Fury will do that to you. Here we're just looking for a couple of parries just to build a couple of extra armors. More armors means more shock damage. And one special 2 gets him down to about 75% health, exactly. So we're pretty sure it's going to take us 4 special 2s to end this fight. I'm not looking to doing anything hugely special. You can see that Fury is now much shorter than it was. He does have special 1 Reluctance, which means he's less likely to throw the special 1, but he seems pretty happy just to throw it here. It is just a bias, it is nothing guaranteed, so do be careful. We only had 2 armors when it came to that special 2, so it was a bit weaker. We did 5% less damage than we did in our previous one, but by the by. So more debuffs means Adrenochrome is going down faster, so we've got the Cowardice from him throwing his specials. We've got shocks if we can line things up right as well, but they are very short shocks. Here we've got 10 armor ups, so the shocks coming from this special 2 are huge and chunk him down to just under 30% health there as well. Continuing to strip off those regens, more shock damage there. If this fight was a little bit shorter, we could have gone special 1 for a very large energy vulnerability, and then into special 2. But in this fight, we just find special 2 spam a bit easier. 8 armors, 1, 2, 3 waves, let all those shocks do their thing, and he is so nearly dead we can just strip off a few more of those regenerations, just hit him, and come on, there we go. This fight is as good as done. So, Nimrod, a very, very good Sabretooth counter in general, and good for this fight. As always, move to that final node, don't quit out, and feel silly. So, there you have it. Everything you need to know to beat all of 7.4.2. Coming soon, more Act 7, 743, 744, 745, and then Kang number 2 and Paragon, as long as you've got the rank ups. We'll be doing this as quickly as possible, with one video coming every day to try and get as many people Paragon as possible before the December the 10th cutoff for the free 7 stars event. If you have any questions, please do leave them down below in the comments, and consider joining the Discord server linked in the description. A great place to get specific advice, make suggestions for future video topics, and while I'm awake, I do my best to be there as much as possible. Thank you, and I will see you next time.